Hey, Thursday, September 18th. The papers are still full of what happened last Saturday. The news of Big Annie and the flag went all over the country. Some have even called her a modern Joan of Arc. I am proud to think that I know her and marched at her side that Sunday in August. One report stated that it was a foreign-born militiaman who abused our nation's flag. Mr. Moyer wired Governor Ferris that troops rode down women and children and that it was an officer who tore the flag with his bayonet. I keep trying to remind myself that the truth is probably somewhere between what each side says. CNH tried to bring in workers from New York this week. The WFM put out signs telling such men not to be scabs. They told these men not to hurt the cause of all workers. Most of the men who arrived in the first trainload listened to the union. They either left our area or joined the union. My days are full of work, but Mr. Edwards makes sure I finish my duties in time to go to evening classes for 7th grade reading and arithmetic. Most evenings when I finish my studies, I am too tired to do anything but fall into bed. Friday, September 26th. What a confusing week this has been. The lawyers hired by all the mining companies are trying to get the courts onto their side now. They asked Judge O'Brien to place an injunction on the strikers saying the men may not picket or march and may not try to stop men who are not in the union from going to work. The company's lawyers say the union is trespassing and interfering with people's right to work. The judge put a temporary order on the men but said the companies must prove their case. Mr. Darrow argued that our men have the constitutional right to freedom of speech and assembly. Some of the older students in my evening classes said that this law firm, Reese, Robin, and Peterman, are CNH's lawyers, and they have a secret agreement with the mining companies to use the courts to work against the miners. They are the ones who file complaints and get our men arrested. I heard they are defending the Waddell men and deputies accused of the murders in Seaberville. What I learned about Judge O'Brien is interesting. He used to work as a lawyer who took CNH and some of the other companies to court to make them give money to the families of men who were hurt or killed. He won tons of cases. CNH has hated Mr. O'Brien for a long time. He seems to be on the side of the strikers. When he was elected a judge, he swore an oath to uphold the law. He is stuck in the middle, a little like King Solomon in the Bible, trying to decide which woman was really that baby's mother. I am glad I am not Judge O'Brien. A lot of the union men met at the Italian Hall. Papa told me one Finnish man said the Russian Tsar could not have done a better job of taking away the men's rights. Many men continued to march and got arrested. They were set free right away while they wait for trial at a later time. Papa says he will obey the order not to march. He will wait and hope. Mutty has come home from Mr. Lampa's farm. Now the cellar is full of potatoes, onions, and turnips. Daisy has all the hay she needs for the winter. Mutty tried to find other work in Lake Linden, but the town has a lot of French-Canadian people who work at the CNH stamp mill. They are not on strike and don't like those who are. There was no work to be had for the son of a striker, or a Finn for that matter. Papa wanted him to go back to school anyway. Papa told him, "You go to school, then you want farm with me, dat good? Or something else, dat good too." For now, I will have to keep serving meals, washing dishes, polishing, mopping floors, beating rugs, reading and studying. I am so tired, all I want to do is turn out the light and go to sleep. But I will do my 2 pages of arithmetic problems and think about seeing my family on Sunday. Wednesday, October 1. Hooray! Hooray! Judge O'Brien took away the injunction on September 29th. He said the men have a constitutional right to march and assemble as long as they are peaceful. Most of the men arrested for marching in spite of the injunction had their cases dismissed. Others received only probation for a sentence. Company lawyers tried to get Judge O'Brien to put out a second injunction, but he rejected it. Company lawyers said they will take the case to the Michigan Supreme Court. Right away, the trouble started again. There was even picketing in Swedetown. Women I know grabbed dinner pails away from the scabs and threw their food into the road. Over in Red Jacket, a scab used a club on a woman who took his dinner pail. That started a huge fight, and Big Annie was arrested again. A judge named Fisher charged her with intimidation, but let her go after someone paid $300 for her bond. A man in my evening class said she was right back on the picket line at 4 o'clock this morning. He said he heard Big Annie tell a scab it is blood money scabs work for. She yelled at the men not to go down there and spat at some. The jail doors bang shut, then open, and shut, and open again. Men get arrested, judges let them off. CNH cannot rule the courthouse. I hate all this fighting, but at least someone is paying attention to how hard we working people have it. I have completely missed one of my favorite times of the year, fall. Last year I walked out into the woods on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. I remember how crisp the air seemed as the leaves crunched beneath my feet. The sky always has a deeper blue on fall days, a different blue than any other time of the year. The woods are like the warm embers of a fire, red, gold, and yellow. Those walks left me feeling full and peaceful. Yenny, Katri, and I would make huge piles of leaves and jump into them. The color came this year, but I never got out into the woods. I didn't get to jump into the leaves. I only raked up piles in Mr. Edwards' yard and dumped them in the ash can to burn. The smoke stung my eyes, and missing the fun stung my heart. Monday, October 6th. Mati came by Mr. Edwards' kitchen door this evening to tell me he and my sister skipped school today, even though the truancy officer might come after our family, and marched in their own parade. Papa is striking for us, was written on the signs he and other children carried. I told him I was proud of them. I wish I had been there, but I have chosen this path to help my family. Papa always taught us to act on what we believe and finish something we start. I must stick to this job until the strike is over. A few weeks ago I saw that awful James Richards again. I thought I would be rid of him at the end of school last June. Then there he was with that rotten tomato he threw at me the parade. Then there he was again walking down the alley. He saw me beating a rug late in the afternoon. He stared at me for a time and then laughed. Ha ha ha, you found what you're best suited for. Now he comes by at least every other day to taunt me. I hate that boy, but I will not give him the satisfaction of knowing how he hurts my feelings. The rugs got beat really clean, though. I am very fast at taking down the washing if I see him coming. Friday, October 10th. The Michigan Supreme Court ruled yesterday on the injunction against our men's marching. They said the union men are guaranteed their right to march, speak, and picket, as long as it is peaceful. They may not threaten men who wish to work or harm them in any way. The way things have been, I'm afraid it will not work. I keep thinking about the things my papa said about the first day of the strike. So much anger built up into storms and lightning. I'm afraid things will stay as they are or get worse. Papa has always been a peaceful man. So are a lot of the others. Why can't they be the leaders? Why won't those hotheads listen to men like my papa and act like grown-ups are supposed to? Sunday, October 12th. We had a bit of celebration at home today. Mati got a deer earlier this week with a bow and arrow he made during the summer, just like the Indians used to do. Mati had been practicing all summer shooting at a target whenever he was not doing farm chores. By today, the meat was properly cured, and we had venison roast for dinner with potatoes and turnips and a rich brown gravy. There was applesauce for dessert. How good everything tasted. Everyone said it was the best meal they ever had. Mama smiled for the first time in many Sundays. She will put a little more of the meat in the icebox for this week. Yago and Mati will be busy for the next few days smoking and drying the rest. Papa told them to be sure to take some over to Mr. and Mrs. Itema, since they have been so kind in giving us eggs from their chickens. Sunday, October 19th. CNH announced this week through the newspapers that they will begin an 8-hour day in January. In order not to give any credit to the WFM, they stated that this had been the plan for quite some time. There will be no minimum wage, and the one-man drill is here to stay. The articles in the papers all week have talked about how well CNH has tried to take care of the workers. The article reminded people that CNH built the library, hospital, and bathhouse. A table listed all the mines showing how many had produced more money in copper than the amount of money spent to build the mines, smelters, railroads, buy machinery, and everything else. I was surprised to read that less than 20 mines from the beginning of the mining here until 1910 actually paid back more money than what was invested. I still think all the articles were printed to make the company look good and make our men look ungrateful. CNH and the Quincy Mining Company in Hancock are trying again to bring in new people to work in the mines. Almost as much rock is coming out of the ground as there was before the strike started. Yesterday, many of the Finnish women who came in to buy groceries talked about their fear of the blacklist. They believe the companies have a list of every striker or anyone who had ever caused them trouble. They say the companies share these lists. If a man leaves one company and tries to work at another, company men check this list and will not hire them. The mining companies say this is not true, but everyone knows someone, sometimes they even say names, who has refused a job in this way. When the strike does end, will Papa and Yago even be allowed back to work? What will happen if they aren't, and if Papa cannot buy farmland? The company owns our house. Will we be out in the street? Will I spend all my life polishing someone else's silver? Sunday, October 26th. The young men in my reading class say that the strike is lost. The marches accomplished nothing, but the union will find men who do not participate. It does not take many fines to lose what little is given in strike benefits. Fewer men march in spite of this. More arrests, more short trials. Big Annie was in court again this week and then right back at the head of the parades. More fights and violence. Several volleys of shots were fired at the train today, supposedly by strikers. Mr. Moyer has left the area, so our men are on their own for now. The rabbits are doing well. One was in the stew today. Katrie cried over it because she had been treating the rabbits like pets. Mama said, I told you not to play with them. You can eat the stew or go hungry. Katrie choked back her tears and ate the stew. Later, I told her it was all right because now the rabbit was a part of her forever. I bring home an old box or two every time I can so Mama can keep putting new pieces of cardboard in all of our shoes. Papa wears through a layer of cardboard almost every day. He says nothing, but there is always sadness in his eyes. Matti and Yago try to tell jokes, and they are good ones, but the laughter is not real. Papa wanted to practice his English again as he walked me back to Mr. Edwards' house. We got lots, Sisu, Emma. You no worry now. I proud you. Mama and me love you. Don't matter, we got no raha. That means money. I smiled before I went into the kitchen door, but my smile was only on the outside. Sunday, November 2nd. Today as we walked home from church, a union man, Papa does not know all that well, came up to him. He asked Papa how he felt about the strike and if he wanted to leave the union and go back to work. I heard someone would be coming around, Papa said in Finnish, so here's what I say. I don't like everything about the WFM, but if some of us quit now, it will be bad for everybody. We have to stick together. If we don't speak with one voice, we get nothing. I will see this thing through to the end for the sake of all the others. The man shook Papa's hand, thanked him, and walked away. Mama raised her eyebrows and looked at Papa. He sighed and kept talking in Finnish. Anna, that's the truth and you know it. The company can see how divided we are. They use that against us. This bickering back and forth between the socialist Finns and the rest of us make all of us weaker. A burst of wind whistled out of the north and blew a few old dried-out leaves down the street. I shivered. Saturday, November 8th. Winter's first blast hit us today. The wind was so strong the snow seemed to come sideways. I was numb from cold walking the few blocks from the store back to Mr. Edwards' house. By the time Maud and I finished washing the supper dishes, there were drifts in the street. Emma, I won't even think of you walking home in this weather, Mr.